What up, Razzballers? Welcome back to the program. We got another great debate for you this evening. Some ranking debates with Matty Styles and the winner from last week, Jefferson, coming in hot, taking down Derek in round one. We got a few players on the docket here. We got a couple wide receivers and a running back we're going to be debating right now on the Razzball Fantasy Football Show. What up, everybody? Good evening and welcome back to the Razzball Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Sky Guasco. You can find me on X at my name. That's SKYGUASCO. You can find Matty Styles, my normal mock drafter, coming in hot. He got the earned the well-deserved bye week last week. Derek and Jeff fought it out. Jeff got the dub, moves on to Matty Stafford. I'm thinking of like the Mortal Kombat totem pole back in the day. You know what I mean? You win, you move the ladder on your way to Goro, and Matt is the next one in line for Jeff here. You can find Jeff at Jefferson __21, and of course Styles 08. Everything Razzball, RAZZBALL NFL. Subscribe right here on the YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell, and leave a rate and review. Plus, which side you're on for these players, and if you're ranking them too high or too low as we get going. Those of you on the go can always listen to the podcast as well, of course, much as I do, and I mention that every single show while I'm driving, walking the dog, doing household chores, or just on the go in general. I love the podcast here. So it's Razzball Podcast, anywhere listen to your audio. All of our content and our exclusive tools available to you for draft season coming up the next couple of weeks, available at football.razzball.com. Gentlemen, only a couple of weeks left before NFL actually starts. This week, next week, and next week are the three biggest drafting weekends and weeks in general for the fantasy football season. Very excited to do that. Jeff, I'm going to let you kick it off here, man. What is your strategy this evening going up the juggernaut here? Matt, but you took it down last week against Derek. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Styles will be a worthy opponent tonight, so I look forward to his banter, and we'll see who becomes victorious.
Matty Styles, usually we come here for the content. We stick around for the laughs. You let both of us know that this is not a fun and games episode for you. You've got the Pearl Jam bumping in the back in one earpiece. You got Razzball Podcast on the other, and you're focused on this episode here straightforward. You're in the zone, man. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. What I'm requesting is that the listeners get a chance to vote on this. I know that's not going to happen. You're more of a dictator.
Yeah.
I'm a man of the people.
Yeah, I decide who wins, but thanks.
I truly believe that the winner of this taking on you next week says to me that you're going to pick the person you think you can beat.
Yeah.
But I want, no matter what happens this week or next week, I think that person that wins next week should be from here on known as the Razzball Debate Final Boss.
Oh, yeah, that's easy. And that'll be me. I mean, again, first of all, as the leader of the program here, I mean, it's really difficult to vote against yourself. We, turn on the news, right? We know how the games work. But also, you got to come correct, gentlemen, and we are going to be having it. We had a lot of content last week. We had a lot of people chiming in and voting. So I do like Styles' suggestion here. I will take it into consideration when you're watching the program. Feel free to jump in here, maybe, hit up a couple notes, hit up a couple points, and see if your guy will win. Let's kick it off here first, gentlemen. We'll let it get going here. I'm going to let Styles, you are going to kick it off here as the visitor, however, with home field advantage. Does that make sense? Coming up here, sure. Jeff will kick it off, and he will defend his case. But the first player here I'd like to talk about tonight is a player that I love, skill-wise. Hoping Derek Carr can come back around. I love me some Alvin Kamara. Not a lot of other weapons in New Orleans. Are we going to see the final, big-time breakout that we expect from Chris Olave? Matt, your time starts now.
No, you're not.
Okay, Jeff. Sorry.
With that being said, I just posted my latest article for wide receiver ranks, and Olave, I dumped him down the list. Now, I didn't necessarily do that because Olave is not a good football player, so let me get to why he moved down the list. Currently, I have Olave at wide receiver 21, 9 spots below his ECR or ADP of wide receiver 12, right? So a 9-spot difference. You could consider that almost a full round. I would call it a round. Olave is playing for a team sports the 32nd ranked offensive line. That's per Fantasy Pros. A bad offensive line means less time for Derek Carr to throw the football. Dump offs historically in that offense, and we can use historically because Olave's been there a few years, Derek Carr has been there a few years, and the gentleman you just referenced, Alvin Kamara, has been there a few years. Dump offs historically go to Alvin Kamara and Alvin Kamara and Alvin Kamara as the top 3 targets. Quick passes in an offense that needs to get rid of the ball quickly are usually to the slot receiver, right? The guy closest to the edge or a tight end. So you've got Taysom Hill taking targets. You've got Bob's best friend, Jawan Johnson. And if we're to believe what we're seeing, Rashid Shaheed could be a guy that takes the top off. He could be the guy that's in the slot. But either way, he's going to be a wide receiver too that Olave did not have to fight for targets with last year. Derek Carr's regression is clear. It's obvious. That shoulder injury, coupled with his age, will linger more than it will get miraculously better the further he gets away from that age 30 season. In 2023, Saints did not have that viable wide receiver too. Olave put what looks like on paper to be a Pro Bowl year. 87 catches, 1,123 yards, 5 touchdowns. He was the overall wide receiver 16. The emergence of Rashid Shaheed, especially if you played in Scott Fishbowl drafts, means there is a true viable wide receiver too for the Saints. I am out on Olave. No, not really. I'm not out. Am I in on Olave as wide receiver 12? No, I'm out. Give me a player like Travis Etienne, Isaiah Pacheco, or DK Metcalf at a slight discount versus reaching for Olave at wide receiver 12. That's it.
Ding, 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 ding. Styles coming in hot. Strong. You guys know I love a PPF reference. Shout out to Pro Football Focus. Good friends across the pond there. I mean, across the industry. Never mind. Very excited about that. Love some O-line shout out too. And all I heard you say, Matt, the whole time when you said 32nd rank, all I heard you say was 165 targets for Alvin Kamara. I kind of blacked out after that. I'm sure the rest of what you said was super valid, but all I heard was just like my ticks go up for Alvin Kamara receptions. I'd love to see that. All right, Jeff, you know the drill. Let's get it going. Your time starts now.
All valid points, Mr. Styles. However, I want taking a closer look at Mr. Chris Olave. From his rookie year to last year, he increased his targets over 20, and his numbers across the board year after year have gone up for receptions, yards, as well in targets. So I think he'll be on his way to potentially that third-year breakout with them. Last year, he was 6th in air yards with over 1,800 yards, and he had a 24% target share on his team, which was 16th amongst all wide receivers. Kind of digging a little bit deeper in his target share, he averaged about 8 a game, and when he did average 8 targets a game, he averaged nearly 16 points, PPR points a game, which would have put him at wide receiver 15 on average points per game scale. So I think there's room for him to grow and be a little bit better as long as he sees the 8 targets, which I don't see why he wouldn't. To back that up, Vegas has the over-under of the Saints at 7.5. When digging into the Razzball tool on the win-loss tool, Olave averaged over 15 point PPR points in losses, which was 3 more points than victories for the Saints. So Saints are going to lose more games, so he's going to have more points. You can book on that one right there. Lastly, they did change their offensive coordinator to Clint Kubiak. He was part of the 49ers system. So shout out to the 49ers. I don't know if you knew the Styles.
No, Jeff's talking. I'll get back to him. He's all over the place. But yeah, I'll call you back.
There we go. They were 4th in passing and 2nd in passing touchdowns, despite playing ahead of many games. So if they continue with that trend, Olave is going to catch a lot more passes. And I think he'll be valued around wide receiver 12, maybe like 13, but I think he's somewhere closer to that than 21. I think you've got him way outside where he should be going at the end of the third, where he should be in a mid-second round wide receiver.
Ding, 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 ding. Styles playing a little bit of defense there. I like to see that. By the way, shout out to anybody that's still truly using a magazine for fantasy football. You're probably over the age of at least 25, I would guess. So congratulations to anybody winning games doing it that way. Well done. Jeff, well done.
I'm in his head. I'm already in his head.
Rent free. Rent free, as the kids say.
Rent free.
Not even paying rent. I love to see that. Jeff, great defense there. Sending your point. I got to stick with. Actually, I'm not sure yet. Let's talk about see what the audience has to say. We'll go to the crowd and get it going here. We will have the drum roll and gonna have to go with Styles, and I'll tell you why in a second. But the crowd. The biggest reason here is ADP, right? We're talking about rankings. If he's going around 12-ish or whatever, and we're making a case for him to not be higher than that, but Styles think he's going to go lower, that makes the most sense. Jeff, if he came out strong and said something like, oh, he might be in top 5, top 8 or whatever, I could see that maybe making the call. Also, in that offense, I just firmly believe as well that like Olave is going to be a great player. I don't know that I want that player where he's being drafted. So for those reasons, I got to go with Matty Styles in round 1. Well done. It is not over yet, folks. We got another one coming. For everyone tuning in right now, again, the Razzball Fantasy Football Show. I got Matty Styles and Jefferson with me, myself, Sky Guasco, and we are getting to going here on a Razzball Rumble. Next player up here, this is a contentious player. We know that our captain, the leader of the spaceship here at Razzball for us on the program, Bob Lamarco, big fan of Kyren Williams. I don't hate him, but I haven't been the biggest fan over the summer for a number of reasons. I've stated my case in a number of running back articles over the summer. But gentlemen, it's up to you guys. I'm going to let Jeff kick it off with this one here. Styles will play a little bit of defense in the other direction. Let's kick it off with Kyren Williams, the running back for now.
If I feel Jeff doesn't bring enough, can I just plead the fifth and be done and go right to a vote?
Yeah. Again, I mean, if you guys want to use politic rules, it's fine with me.
Yeah.
'Tis the season, right? I mean, November's right around the corner. So however you want to rig the system or like pay people off to get what you want, it doesn't matter to me.
Well, what I heard from you earlier is next week's going to be the GNC. It'll be the Guasco National Convention, and nobody's going to beat you.
Yeah, I mean, next week's pretty much decided, but we're focused on this week, Matt. Let's get it going, Jeff. Your time starts now.
So Kyren Williams, he is going as the RB7 around pick 20, mid-second round, which I think is a very great place for him to go. Last season, he finished as RB2 in points per game, and then RB7 for total points in 23. I don't know if your magazine has this, those styles, though, but he had the highest snap share of all running backs last season at almost 84%. So he's on the field. He's not coming off. And with that being said, he was 3rd in rushing yards, 4th in red zone touches, and he was 3rd in rushing touchdowns at 15 last season, as a rookie, mind you, coming to Sean McVay's system. So all the numbers on top look great. When you dig a little deeper in the advanced stats, he was 8th in evaded tackles and 10th in juke rate, meaning you can't bring him down, Styles, even with your magazine. He's staying upright. And at 23, he's got fresh tires. They're going to keep feeding him the rock. I know they got Blake Corum, nice running back out of Michigan, but I think he's more of just a backup in case Williams gets run down, but I don't think he's going to. McVay's got a history of using the bell cow back, and when he finds the guy he likes, he feeds him the rock. I think he has his guy right here. As we mentioned already, Bob has him at the top 10, and Rudy's projections have him as RB6, beating out his ADP already right there. And the last point I'll make is that I think the Rams might be making one last hard push with Stafford, and they're going to have to rely on Williams. And he's proven he did it last year. I don't see why he can't do it this year. And if he takes that next step in the passing game, he could be RB1 this season. And lastly, their O-line is middle of the road, but I still think he has the opportunity to be the RB1 at the end of the season.
Holy smokes. That sounded like a bold prediction, Jeff. I feel like you're jumping a week, just nonchalantly throwing out crazy calls, which are beyond a bold prediction there. Number 1 running back out of Kyren Williams. To your point, and I'll give you this. He was number 2 when he was healthy last year behind only the GOAT CMC. So well done. Same division there. I got to be honest with you, Styles. That was a strong comeback from round 1 from Jeff there. I feel you got to step it up, and your time starts now.
So for starters, he can't do his bold prediction now because it's clearly going to be Bob's heartthrob bold prediction. So strike 1. Strike 2, only somebody that was a punk would not take on Kyren Williams, right? This was my suggestion. I'm like, sure, I know what I'm talking about. I'll fade a dude when everybody else is thinking, no, you can't fade a dude like that. I mean, he's a stud. He's done it for 1 year.
12 games.
Yeah, how many? Yeah, not 16, not 17, 12. We'll get to that in a minute. I'll start by saying three things about Kyren Williams. One, taking a stand against a running back that finished as running back 7 and overall player 19, not counting quarterbacks, is not something a weak, scared, ADP-driven analyst will do. 2, paying for one great season is usually a recipe for disaster. 3, draft value versus overpaying for prior seasons. I want to draft a person and pay them at their draft position for what they're going to do for me next, not Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. What have you done for me lately? Based on preseason ranks by Fantasy Pros, the Rams have a bottom half strength of schedule and are in a division in which they could easily finish last. Their starting quarterback is 123 years old, has less than 0 mobility, and 2 significant target hogs to feed at wide receiver. 3, if you're sold like most of the industry on in Demarcus Robinson being a solid wide receiver 3. Kyren is not overly active in the passing game. 47 targets, 32 receptions equals a 62% completion percentage. Not the greatest. Lackluster 206 receiving yards for those 32 receptions. And they just drafted a running back in the 3rd round, which means draft capital says playing time. Williams is undersized, 5'9", 194. The addition of Blake Corum probably equals a 65-35 split versus running all of the tread off of Williams' tires like they did in 23. He was healthy most of the season, but I'm not going to pay for a career season after one season and expect similar results in that second year. Kyren was good, if not great, last season. We've seen this movie before, and it's called One Hit Wonder Running Backs. Cool. The sequel tends to flop. You will see Kyren end up in the fantasy textbooks alongside Peyton Hillis, Ickey Woods, and Jay Ajayi before you see him mentioned with LaDainian Tomlinson, Marshall Faulk, and Sean Alexander. For those reasons, I'm passing on Williams at his current ADP, and I'm jumping on wide receivers like Marvin Harrison Jr., Mike Evans, and Nico Collins.
My goodness. Ding, 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 ding. That was a strong, strong effort. Styles, I have to just throw this out there really quick. To shout out Sean Alexander. Big up the Pacific Northwest, of course. 5 touchdowns against the Raiders. Loved watching that as a non-Raider fan growing up as a kid. Also, I have his jersey. There was a few other one-hit wonders there that you could have potentially noted as well, but the Peyton Hillis, of course, getting Madden on accident is one of the best of all time, so well done there. Jeff, strong on your side too, and I feel like I'm a bit obligated against my will here to vote for you in this one because you mentioned Bob and Rudy. So if you throw out Rudy's rankings and Bob loves the guy and I go against it, I unfortunately feel like that's an HR issue and my job might be on the line.
Sell out.
So I might agree with Matt a little bit more on his take, but for safety of my salary and my family, I'm going to have to go with what the politics do. I'm going to have to do what's best for myself. And I'm going to have to go with Jefferson for this round, who then ties it up against Matty Styles, and the crowd approves.
Bro, you're not even hourly, much less salary.
Oh, you don't know it, dude. I'm commission as well.
Brutal.
Like my situation's off the hook, dude. I don't discuss my my payment scale with my employees. Although I think that's a habit for people to do in the real life.
By the way, you know that South Park meme where the guy's sitting in front of the his laptop and he's just finished being very excited?
Sure, I do.
I think Bob's face should be on that meme right now.
Oh my God, dude!
This is Jeff wins for Kyren Williams.
This is a family show. We're gonna move on, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the deal: we got 1-1 here. Styles opens with a strong performance, gets round 1 with Chris Olave. Jeff battles back, sort of wins over the judge. That's all you need to worry about in competition. He gets number 2. We're at 1-1 here, gentlemen. I always come prepared with a secret extra third player here. This is somebody that genuinely I'm kind of up in the air about. Not a Bears guy up until like 4 months ago. You guys know I don't love Caleb Williams. However, I'm going to give the kid some like fun, fancy points because I watch him a lot at USC and he's fun to watch, whatever. And I wish the kid the best. I just don't think he's going to be better than Jaden Daniels in this rookie class. But they bring in my boy Keenan Allen. I love that. Roma Dunze, not a Husky guy, but the kid's legit and smashed the Ducks 3 different times this year, which I hate, but it's true. And then on top of that, they still have DJ Moore, who's been one of my favorite receivers, but underrated and underperforming his entire career so far. Looking good in the preseason. I don't know where to rank this guy. I don't know which Bears wide receiver to take. So I'm going to go with DJ Moore. Last week, I had a tiebreaker question. It was how many World Series championships had the New York and San Francisco Giants, respectively, won over their career? The answer was 8. Jefferson picked 9. Derek was way off. This week, I have another one. And I'm going to have to go with, let's see, who was the starting running back for the San Francisco 49ers in the 1994 Super Bowl victory over the then Los San Diego Superchargers? Jeff, I'll let you go first. Of course, if you Google, you lose automatically. 1994 starting running back for the San Francisco 49ers, Super Bowl winning franchise. Go for it.
Ricky Waters?
Ricky Waters? Maddie?
I don't think it's Ricky Waters.
And I have another guy in mind, but he's the person that came up.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Tom Rathman.
Ooh, Tommy Rathman, a little bit late. Tommy Rathman took him to the promised land in those 80s there with Roger Craig. It is Ricky Running Waters, who was never thought of as a 49er because he wasn't, much like Dion that year. But they put together the super team, got the W, and they win over the Chargers there. Shout out to Stan Humphries and the rest of that crew for putting up a valid effort, though. All right, gentlemen, let's get into it. I'm going to let Jeff go first in this round. It is about DJ Moore. One more time, round 3. Here we go.
So I am out on DJ Moore. My friend here, my competition Styles, has him as wide receiver 12, which would be ADP 22 at the end of the second, which I think is too high to take him. Currently, he's at wide receiver 20 with an ADP of 36, which seems kind of more in line just due to the uncertainty with this Bears receiving core. I know Waldron has the history of getting 2 receivers in the top 20, 15. But now this time around, the target competition, I think, is a lot different for DJ Moore. Keenan Allen is a target hog running out of the slot. He's going to see a lot of targets. How much? I don't know, but he's going to take a lot away from DJ Moore. And then the rookie on the Dynasty side, Mr. Roma Dunze, I think this guy is way better than advertised. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. Some of the industry want to compare him to JSN in Seattle, but I think he's way better than JSN. And he's also not hurt to start the season. So I think he's going to be a viable target for Caleb Williams. And then with the quarterback play, Caleb looks great, but who does he like? We really don't know. We haven't seen it. So with that being said, and with Rudy's projections at wide receiver 27, I'm out.
Man, bringing up Rudy again, you're putting me on the spot, man. I gave you one. I feel like giving you one is just kind of like an automatic, like an attaboy. You played the cards, you rigged the system. I give you the dub. It might be overzealous. We'll see what happens. Maddie Styles, you're on the clock right now.
All right, Sky, you're closer to my age than you are Jeff's, I'm assuming. So you remember
just over 26.
Yeah, you remember the old classic Saturday Night Live, where they would do the news, right? The weekend report.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hit Jefferson with something, but I'm gonna hit you first with all due respect, right? So I can say anything I want now.
Yeah, now you're in the clear.
Yeah, with all due respect, Jeff, you ignorant slut.
Oh.
DJ Moore is currently wide receiver 19. If you look at Fantasy Pros, look at the ECR ADP info. I have him at 12, as Jeff stated. Now, wide receiver 12, you got to take that with a grain of salt. Based on his ADP or ECR, you can wait the better part of a full round in a PPR league to draft more. So even though I have him at 12, it doesn't necessarily mean draft him at 12. Moore reeled in over 72% of his targets, ranked 12th in receptions with 96, 6th in yards with 1364, and 7th in touchdowns with 8. That placed him as the 2023 wide receiver 6. He was drafted significantly lower than that. Now, consider all those numbers, which you would happily take in your wide receiver 1 for sure as your wide receiver 2. Consider the fact that his quarterbacks were a really, really bad, frustrated looking over his shoulder, Justin Fields, and a guy named Tyson Bagent. Consider the Bears were a run-first team with a really bad offensive line and a clear wide receiver 2 option that was injured, right? Darnell Mooney didn't play last year. He was dinged, or he's out the majority of the season. So their number 2 receiving option was Cole Kmet. Khalil Herbert was injured, in and out. Dante Foreman doesn't catch passes. Moore was brand new to the offensive system as well. I'm of the opinion with this stud rookie quarterback in Chicago plus 3 deep wide receiving core, a decent tight end, the Bears should be better than 2023. Tastes like bile when I say it, but you heard me when I said it. The Bears are awful. I'll just throw that out there. What that means to me is Moore should be better, and I will happily take the 2023 or better numbers as my wide receiver 2, possibly wide receiver 3 if he lands where Jeff is stating, kind of in the end of the 3rd round. With an overall ADP of 34, Moore should bring at least a full round of value to the table. So I have him at 12, but I think you can get him at 24. Chicago boasts the 18th overall offensive line, which isn't great. Chicago plays in a division where they have to score to win. Their defense is middling. All of that adds up to more passing and less running. DJ Moore will end the season as a top 12 receiver, and you can draft him in the top 24. So count me in on that value. I'm taking DJ Moore over Stephon Diggs, Chris Olave, and Jalen Waddle.
Nice. Ding, 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 ding. Well done there. Styles, tremendous pun there. Whether it was intentional or not, doesn't matter. I hear all puns. The middling for the Midway, Monsters of Midway franchise, well done. Whether it was done or not, doesn't matter. I hear all those. Great job. Once you're a dad, you immediately just hear every pun all the time. Love to hear that. Great job. Once again,
for the record, for all the listeners, Jeff is not a slut.
Correct. Yeah, shout out to Chevy Chase, Dan Rickles, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray. I mean, the list goes on for a million years. Tina Fey, one of the OGs as well. So big up to the OG. I'm a Farley guy forever. Rest in peace, obviously. Man, this is tough. I'm feeling a bit awkward. The last round was kind of like, all right, I'm gonna throw Jeff a bone. This one's legit difficult. I agree with Styles quite a bit, but I don't think I agree with your points and why you take the stance for him. I just don't agree with your stances. Does that make sense? So I just think there's too many mouths to feed. And I do think the Bears are going to be much better. I think the Packers are still going to, kind of run that division outside of the Lions. Obviously the Vikings had to step back there with JJ McCarthy, but Sammy D, we'll see what happens. A lot of points going around here. I just don't know if the Bears are going to be one of those. And Rome Odunze is just awesome, dude. And Keenan Allen is going to be great while he's healthy. And again, DeAndre Swift can catch the ball there too. And Cole Kmet played really well. So I like DJ Moore as a player. I just worry about, he didn't stand out as much as we thought he was going to as the only guy for a couple years outside of the 1 year in Carolina. But now he's got so many mouths to feed and compete with. Talent-wise, I love the guy. I just don't know that he's going to meet or break his ADP. So I would also kind of fade him. I'm going to lean once again for the new guy. And to be honest with you guys, most importantly, with Styles coming out as strong as he did with the last couple rounds, I'm much more confident that I could beat Jeff next week. So the winner, 2-1, decidingly, is Jefferson and the crowd approves.
Is it because? Oh, I'm going to write that into my next notes.
Again, folks, the moral of the story is here. When you're in charge, look out for yourself. That's all I have to say. For seriously though, me personally, I like Chris Olave, but I'm fading his ADP. I've already faded Kyren Williams over the summer and DJ Moore as well a little bit. There's some alternative guys here that we'll talk about in the next couple of weeks. Gentlemen, we're running late in the program here. We're going to get out in less than 1 minute. However, I am curious, is there any other player, no analysis, one other guy that you personally are just like really undecided for one way or another on ADP specifically? Just give me a name. If there is any position, Styles, I'll start with you.
Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know where he should be drafted. And Derek and I, we split a couple of home league teams. One of them we ended up on the turn at 112. And
great R&B group.
Thank you. We are trying to read every possible thing we can read on the X machine, on other people's articles to try to determine what makes sense at the 112 and the 2-1. One of the big theories that we've run into is, and by the way, this league is a 1 running back league, 3 flex, or excuse me, 2 flex, 2 receiver, 2 flex, maybe 3 flex. Regardless, you only have to start 1 running back, 1 quarterback, 1 tight end.
Nice.
And we've got people saying, right, you got to wait 22 picks after you pick at the 2-1. So you really have to get your guy because your guy is not coming back. So if you value, I guess, Marvin Harrison more than you do Nico Collins, overall, you have to take Marvin. But I'm like, well, Nico Collins is better. Well, you're probably not going to get either one, but the likelihood of you getting Nico Collins or Marvin Harrison is Nico Collins coming back in round 3. Most likely won't happen. So I'm just trying to figure out with a guy that we haven't seen outside of college, fantastic Hall of Fame pedigree, but I've seen 2 passes completed to him in camp highlights, and everything else I've heard is, oh my God, you have to draft Kyler Williams or Kyler Murray. He's going to be a top 5 quarterback this year. Okay, but is he going to stay outside of health? Is it really that Marvin Harrison Jr. is Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase 2.0, or is he just a guy?
God, don't be Justin.
I don't know where he belongs. And to me, it's not that he's polarizing. It's just I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know where he belongs, and I haven't been able to read enough that says, okay, if you go at the 2-1 with Marvin Harrison, you're going to say that was a fantastic pick. I'm ecstatic about it.
Wow. Nice. Great points. And I agree. Jefferson, I actually debated them a little bit a couple weeks ago. Marvin Harrison was one of those. You can dial back a couple of episodes here on the Razzball Fantasy Football Show and hear us debate that a little bit. Matt, well done. If this was a round, you would have lost automatically because that was way over 30 seconds. Jeff, do you happen to have a player that you're confused about on ADP?
Yeah, it's Devon A-Chain.
Okay.
Everyone says he's the most efficient running back last year, but he's not going as that, and everyone says he's going to be better. Like, how can he be better if you're already the most efficient? So I worry that he can only regress. But everyone is telling you to take him, and he's right at that second round. And there's other running backs or other receivers that are going right there. So it's, he's like the must-have running back in the second round, everyone says. All the other people in the industry, and I'm like, I just don't see it. But everyone is telling me to do it, so I feel like I'm missing something, but I just don't see it, though. He's going to have to be as efficient as he was last season to bring that value back in. I just don't see it possibly happening again.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that. I think this year, and the drafts I've done and the drafts I'm preparing for, I think I've got 5 in the next week and a half. I think the absolute worst round for drafting this year is second. Second is just a wasteland of dudes, right? You're like, I don't know. Do I need I took a running back in the first round. Does that mean I have to force this wide receiver Mike Evans? Or do I reach for Marvin? What do I do? I think that if I could just say, hey, I'll take 2/3 and trade my second for a second next year, I would be happy to do it. It just seems like a really strange second round this year. And if you go back and look at your mock drafts or some of the drafts you've done like Razzball or whatnot, if they're all PPR, all single quarterback, it's just they're weird. To me, it's just odd. It's a weird, strange second round this year, and I'm not sure why that is or why I feel that way.
Yeah, fair enough. There's a couple tight ends I'm a bit confused as well, and of course, always quarterbacks. Also, gentlemen, always a pleasure, never a chore. Make sure you follow everything Razzball at Razzball NFL on X. You can, of course, subscribe right here to the program on YouTube and the podcast as well, and all of our content and all of our great writers for free right now. Football.razzball.com. Gentlemen, well done. Styles, valid effort. And in another universe, you probably take that down handily. But as I'm more intimidated by you instead of Jeff currently, I will be taking on Jeff next week and another Royal Razzball Rumble. Tune in next week, and Matty Styles and I will be back. He will bounce back. He's a professional. I know it's possible. We'll be back on the program on Monday per usual. Jeff and I will get it done on Thursday of next week. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Enjoy some fake football until we get the real stuff, and college football on the way. Very quickly, we're running out of time, but I will guess because I'm a sportsman. I'm going to go Braves for Jeff on the hat pick. And Matt, man, I'm going to go way left field here. San Diego State University.
Nope, I would say it's further north and it's also further east.
Okay, so Cougs.
Nope.
Give it to me. Air Force.
Air
There's no
Force.
chance. No chance I would have guessed that, but well done. Congratulations. Jeff, am I right or wrong?
You're wrong.
I'm wrong. Boston Red Sox. I love that.
Oh.
I had Carl Yastrzemski in my brain the whole episode too, and I was just like, blew it. Shouts out to Yastrzemski, of course, now with the San Francisco Giants as well. Love you, gentlemen. Appreciate another episode. Always wear your hat backwards, and I will continue guessing. It's my favorite game that we play here on the program. Until next time, folks, Jefferson __21, Styles 08. My name is Sky Guasco. We'll catch you next time on the Razzball Fantasy Football Show. Everyone have a great evening. Take care of yourself and each other. We'll catch you next time. We are out of here.